Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 2. I am Raymond Ater. We're coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari decries unfair debt burden on poor countries. INEC releases names of senators-elect for 10th National Assembly. Plus, Japan forced to destroy flagship H-3 rockets in failed launch. The details of these stories and more coming up in a moment. Many thanks indeed for joining us. First in the news this afternoon, Nigeria's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, who in Doha criticized the existing debt architecture that makes it the most expensive for the least developed countries, LCDs, to borrow on the global market than their advanced counterpart. He warned that such an unfair arrangement would make it extremely difficult for the LDCs to meet the 2030 agenda for 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, in a statement, said the President aligned with the United Nations Secretary General's description on the global financial system as an unfair debt architecture that not only charges poor countries much more money to borrow on the market than advanced economies, but downgrades them when they even think of restructuring their debt or applying for a debt relief. Away from that, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Claire Magba, has disclosed that the federal government plans to establish a basket fund to collect donations for the 2023 population and housing census. It made the disclosure at a high-level partners engagement to seek support for the 2023 census in Abuja. Agba noted that a total of 869 billion naira is needed for the census, noting that the government committed 291.5 billion naira with the need for an additional 327.2 billion naira. It further disclosed that the census exercise was to be conducted last year but rescheduled for March 2023, added that there is a recommendation that it should be held in May. To electoral matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released a list of members-elect of the 10th House of Representatives. Recall that the National Assembly elections were held on Saturday, February 25, 2023, alongside the presidential election. A new set of members, however, with returning familiar faces, will sit in the legislative arm of government, making up the red and green chambers. Among the new faces in the House of Reps are 34 members of the Labour Party, who defeated rivals from the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) and the opposition People's Democratic Party to clinch a seat for themselves and their party in the National Assembly. Meanwhile, INEC has also released a list of members-elect of the 10th Senate. In a recently released list, 8 names are missing, as the Commission noted that supplementary elections will be held in the affected senatorial district. The affected districts include Enugu East, Kebbi North, Plateau Central, Sokoto East, North and South. Directed the Sokoto State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Nura Ali, to stay away from the Commission till further notice. The directive was contained in a letter signed by the Secretary to the Commission, Rose Anthony. In this regard, INEC directed the administrative secretary in the state to take full charge with immediate effect. It will be recalled that the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, in a recent meeting with State Rec, vowed to deal with any official of the commission that contributed to the shortcomings of the presidential election. In a separate development, the National Institute of Security Studies, NISS, has engaged the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, to advance strategic collaboration that would enhance the application of information and communication technology, ICTS, towards improving national security. While speaking during a visit to the Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Omar Dambata, in Abuja, the Institute's Director, Research Estimates and Library Services, Adegboyega Karim, said the visit was a fact-finding mission to enrich ongoing research that focuses on globalization and regional integration for sustainable development in Africa. He noted that the Commission has made giant strides advancing the course of digital economy development in Nigeria, and that its regulatory processes provide a good opportunity for the collaboration to enable the group to research further into matters regarding telecommunications and national security. In another development, the chairman of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Loretta Onoche, has pledged to support the commission's efforts to develop the capacity of women in the region. Onoche, in a statement signed by the NDDC Director, Corporate Affairs, Ibitoye Abosede, said the Commission would in no time set up a committee to articulate the specific needs of women in the region. She charged women to work together to eradicate gender discrimination in the country. Meanwhile, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says the increasingly distant goal of gender equality will take another 3 centuries to achieve. Guterres said in a General Assembly speech ahead of the International Women's Day on March 8 that gender equality is growing more distant, a track of 300 years away. He called for collective action worldwide by governments, civil society, and the private sector to provide gender-responsive education, improve skills training, and invest more in bridging the digital gender divide. Now back here, residents of Ikpa Road in Uyo local government area of Akwa Ibom State have called on the state government to hasten the construction of the road which links Udwaikpa to the plaza. We're speaking with our correspondent Esther Otoyo. They asked the government to avail the contractors currently working on the road with needed equipment and capital to enable the quick completion of the road. They also decried that the bad state of the road has affected their businesses and is dangerous for school children plying the road, noting that one can easily fall into the pit that has been dug in the area for months, which can result to death.
This has really affected the people residing here as well as the indigenes, in that businesses have been halted for some time now and students find it difficult to also access the road. Perhaps the workforce is low, so if they can at least have enough workforce, it can also hasten up the pace of.
We move to Africa now, where the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged M23 rebels in the Democratic Republic of Congo to respect a ceasefire agreement set to come into effect today. The Secretary-General, who welcomed regional and international efforts led by the Angolan president and the African Union to try to stop a conflict that has displaced hundreds of thousands, condemned the violence against civilians and urged all armed groups to lay down their weapons and disarm unconditionally. Guterres urged the M23 rebels to honor a pledge to cease hostilities and to facilitate full and effective withdrawal from areas it has occupied. Still in Africa, the United Nations says Eritrea's record on human rights remains dire and shows no signs of improvement. UN's Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights, Nada al-Nashif, said the withdrawal of Eritrean troops from Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray was very slow and largely incomplete. She said there were credible reports of torture, arbitrary detention, and enforced disappearances. According to reports, an estimated 600,000 people died during the Tigray War. On the foreign scene, Japan has reportedly destroyed its new rocket during a failed launch today, setting back efforts to crack a market led by Elon Musk's SpaceX. According to reports, its space agency had to send a self-destruct command to the H-3 rocket when its second-stage engine failed minutes after liftoff. The H-3 rocket is the first medium-lift rocket designed by Japan in 3 decades. Meanwhile, Japan's Science Minister Keiko Nagaoka said authorities will investigate the cause of the engine failure. She apologized for the inability to meet the expectations of the public and related parties and described the development as extremely regrettable. Still on the foreign scene, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says operations to defend the embattled eastern city of Bakhmut will go on and are backed by senior generals. Reports say Western analysts suggested that Ukraine was probably withdrawing some of its troops as Russian forces close in on the city. Meanwhile, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner private army involved in the Russian campaign, has complained of a lack of ammunition amid apparent friction between his fighters and regular Russian forces. He also says his representatives had been barred from a Russian military headquarters. Still to come in the news. Chelsea to pay Victor Osimhen €5 billion yearly salary. Do stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying tuned. To business news now, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has disclosed that ₦503 billion, representing 52.39%, has been repaid by farmers under the Anchor Borrowers Program as of February 2023. This was made known by the Acting Director, Corporate Communications Department, Abdulmumin Issa, in a statement. But this figure, however, contradicts claims by the International Monetary Fund that only 24% of loans disbursed under the Anchor Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria have been repaid. Disputing the claims, Issa explained that ₦1.079 trillion has been released under the program, out of which ₦960 billion is due for repayment. According to him, the CBN program has supported 4.45 million smallholder farmers who cultivated over 6.02 million hectares of 21 commodities across the country. But still in business, the non-operating joint venture partners of Oil Mining Lease OML 18 have appointed NNPC's 18 Operating Limited as operator of OML 18 to replace Eraton Exploration and Production Limited. According to a statement issued in Abuja by the Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Garabaddin Mohammed, Eraton was removed to curtail further degradation of the asset and revamp the production of oil and gas. The NNPC stated that while the key business reasons that made the change in operatorship were compelling, it was publicly available information that production had declined from 30,000 barrels per day to zero. And now in health, an outbreak of diphtheria infection has reportedly claimed 61 lives in Kano State as of March 2, 2023. The Kano State case manager, Dr. Salma Suwaid, disclosed it at a webinar organized by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention with the theme Diphtheria Outbreak in Nigeria, a vaccination response. Dr. Suwaid also said a total of 783 patients have also been on admission so far. Of this number, 360 were females and 423 were males. Suwaid, who is also a consultant pediatrician, noted that the average hospital stay of the patients is 4 days. According to him, 68% of patients have been discharged, while 1.66% absconded and 12.2% died. And staying with health, a new study has affirmed the role of sleep in supporting immune levels, suggesting that people who sleep under 6 or more than 9 hours are at a higher risk of getting sick. The study stressed that poor sleep can increase an individual's risk of developing infections such as colds and flu. The research conducted a cross-sectional study of 1,848 unselected patients in the waiting rooms of general practitioners in Norway to determine whether self-reported measures of chronic insomnia disorder, as well as chronic sleep issues, sleep length, and cardiac preference were linked to the risk infections and antibiotic use. But a study at the end of the survey discovered that the risk of infection was 27% and 44% higher in patients sleeping below 6 hours or more than 9 hours. In sports now, English Premier League giants Chelsea are reportedly ready to double Victor Osimhen's current salary at Napoli, as they hope to lure the Nigerian forward to Stamford Bridge, with Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur also interested in signing the informed striker. According to reports, Todd Boehly is ready to sign one of football's most exciting talents in Serie A, a leading scorer this season, with Osimhen leading Napoli's charge for a first Scudetto title this century with 19 goals in 21 league games. Osimhen is Napoli's second highest earner, with a salary of 51 million naira weekly and 204 million naira monthly. The Super Eagles star has been unstoppable in front of goal for Napoli since the beginning of last year. Osimhen finished the 2021 and 2022 season with 18 goals and 5 assists in 32 games, including 14 in 27 league games. Still in sports, Senegal had beaten Tunisia 3-0 to reach the final match of the competition, while in the other semi-final of the Suez Canal Authority Stadium in Ismailia at the ongoing Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. The Teranga Cubs won the semi-final match emphatically after beating the Young Carthage Eagles to secure their place in the final. 2 goals from new FC Metz recruit Lamine Camara and a sumptuous strike by Papa Diop were enough to send Senegal to the final. The 3-time runners-up will now face the Gambia in the final on Saturday. The final match is scheduled to take place at the Cairo International Stadium. And now in entertainment, the People's Democratic Party PDP candidates for Etiosa Federal House of Representatives seat Bankole Wellington, popularly known as Banky W, has spoken out for the first time since he lost the House of Representatives election. Recall that in the just concluded 2023 polls, the Labour Party's Thaddeus Atta unexpectedly defeated Banky W and won the post. In a video via his Instagram account, Banky expressed deep disappointment at losing the election. The singer stated in the video that he had made extensive preparations in anticipation of his triumph, including plans for a Sunday Thanksgiving program, searching for a flat and an office in Abuja. Well, still in entertainment, internationally celebrated award-winning gospel singer Mercy Chinwo, popularly known as Minister Mercy, is set to gather thousands of Francophone fans in a grand concert in Lomé, the Republic of Togo. The concert, scheduled for March 12, 2023 at the Omni Sports Stadium, Lomé, is set to be packed by Christians across Togo who will gather to worship alongside Chinwo in what should be an electrifying atmosphere. Known for a popular hit song, Excess Love, among other incredible hits, Mercy Chinwo is billed to minister at the widely anticipated concert, dubbed the Grand Concert Excess Love, which aims to create an opportunity for all to come together as a body of Christ to celebrate the goodness of God and His excess love. We're sharing the stage with a star-studded lineup of gospel ministers and gospel music artists from other African countries. The two-day concert promises to be a night of high energy, praise, worship, and diverse expressions of God. And that's all we have for you at this time. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website. Just search spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching the news at 2. Thanks for joining us. I am Raymond Ita. Good afternoon.